I'm 29, I'm single, I'm broke, and most days, I have no idea what I'm doing with my life. That sounds dramatic when you say it out loud, but that's kind of the point. Because most of the time, I don't say it out loud. Most of the time, I dress it up. I say, I'm figuring things out. I say, I'm in a weird transition. I say, I'm working on myself. I say I'm taking things one step at a time. And some of that is technically true. But there's another truth underneath it. And the truth is that I feel lost. Not in a cool, mysterious way. Not in a I'm on a journey way. I mean lost in the way where people ask you what you're doing with your life and you start mentally looking for the nearest exit. Lost in the way where you open your banking app and immediately close it because you don't want the number to become real. Lost in the way where someone asks if you're seeing anyone and you laugh like it's funny, even though it kind of ruins your mood for the next hour. Lost in the way where you're old enough that I still have time is technically true, but it doesn't comfort you the way it used to. Because 29 is strange. You're not old. I know that. Someone is always ready to tell you that. You're still young. You have your whole life ahead of you. Everybody moves at their own pace. And yeah, sure, I get it. I'm not 80, but I'm also not 19 anymore. I can't keep acting like my life hasn't started yet, because it has. This is it. This is not the warm-up round. This is not the tutorial. This is the actual life, and I'm sitting here feeling like I missed the part where everyone else got the instructions. When I was younger, I thought by 29, things would at least make sense. I didn't think I'd be rich. I didn't think I'd have some perfect movie life. But I thought I would have something. A stable job, some savings, a relationship that felt real, a place in the world that felt like mine, a direction. That was the big one, direction. I thought even if I wasn't exactly where I wanted to be, I'd at least be moving towards something. But a lot of the time, I don't feel like I'm moving toward anything. I feel like I'm just reacting, trying to get through the week, trying not to think too far ahead, trying to make the day pass without asking myself too many questions. And the worst part is, nothing about my life looks like a disaster from the outside. That almost makes it worse. If everything was completely falling apart, at least there would be a clear emergency. But it's not like that. It's quieter. I'm not at some dramatic rock bottom. I'm just behind in every normal way. No real savings, no relationship, no clear plan, no impressive career, no feeling that I'm becoming someone I respect. Just this boring, constant sense that I should be further along by now. And I know comparison is stupid. I know people only show the good parts online. I know someone can post a vacation picture and still be miserable. I know a couple can look happy and still hate each other in private. I know someone can have a good job and still feel empty. I know all of that. But knowing it doesn't stop the feeling. You still scroll and see people moving in together, people getting engaged, people buying cars, people having kids, people getting promotions, people looking like they have a life that is actually going somewhere. And then you look at yourself and think, okay, what exactly am I doing? Not in a jealous way, at least not only jealous, more like confused. Like everyone else found a door and you're still standing in the hallway pretending you're just taking your time. That's the part I'm tired of, pretending I'm taking my time. Because there's a difference between moving slowly and standing still. And I think I spent years pretending those were the same thing. I told myself I was being patient. I told myself things would work out eventually. I told myself I was still figuring it out. But sometimes figuring it out is just a nice way to say you're avoiding a decision. And I avoided a lot of decisions. I avoided applying for things because I didn't want to get rejected. I avoided committing to a path because I didn't want to choose wrong. I avoided relationships because I didn't feel ready, but I also hated being alone. I avoided looking at money because looking at it made me feel stupid. I avoided hard conversations. I avoided risk. I avoided anything that could give me a clear answer, because clear answers are scary. If you never really try, you never really fail. That sounds safe, but it isn't. It just means you fail slowly, in a way that's harder to notice. You don't wake up one day and suddenly become lost. You drift into it, one excuse at a time, one delayed decision at a time, one I'll deal with it later at a time, and then later becomes your entire personality. That's what scares me. Not that I made one huge mistake. I almost wish I had. At least then I could point to something. There, that's where it happened. That's where I ruined it. But I don't have that. What I have is 100 small moments where I chose comfort over progress. 100 times I knew what I probably should have done and did the easier thing instead. Not because I'm evil, not because I'm stupid, because I was tired, because I was scared, because I didn't want to feel embarrassed, because doing nothing felt safer than finding out I wasn't good enough. And after enough years, those little choices add up. They turn into your life. That's the part nobody wants to admit. Your life can become something you didn't choose on purpose. You can end up somewhere by default. Nobody forces you there. You just keep picking the easiest next step until you wake up in a place you don't recognize. And then people ask, how did you get here? And you don't have a good answer, because every step made sense at the time. That's what's so annoying about it. The bad choices didn't always feel bad when I made them. They felt reasonable. They felt temporary. They felt like survival. I'll save money later. I'll take my health seriously later. I'll figure out what I want later. I'll date when I feel more confident. I'll start when things calm down. I'll become disciplined when I'm in a better place. But the better place never came, because I was waiting for my life to become easier before I started building it. And that's backwards. I see that now. You don't wait until you feel stable to start acting stable. You don't wait until you feel confident to start doing things that build confidence. You don't wait until your life is perfect to stop making it worse. You start in the mess. That's the part I hate, because I wanted a cleaner starting point. I wanted a version of myself that was already ready, a version with more money, more energy, more confidence, better habits, better discipline, less shame. But that person is not coming first. I have to build him while being this version, the broke version, the single version, the lost version, the version that still checks his phone too much and avoids uncomfortable things and says he's fine when he isn't. That's humiliating. But maybe it's also the only honest place to start. I think being single makes it worse sometimes. Not because being single is automatically bad. It isn't. I'd rather be single than be with someone who makes me feel more alone. But there's a specific kind of loneliness that hits when you're already disappointed in yourself. Because when you don't like where your life is, dating starts feeling impossible. You think, what am I even inviting someone into? This? My uncertainty? My bad routines? My financial stress? My half-finished plans? My personality that changes depending on how much I hate myself that week? And then you tell yourself you'll date when you're doing better. But doing better keeps moving further away. So you don't date. Then you feel lonely. Then loneliness makes you feel worse. Then feeling worse makes you even less likely to try. And suddenly, being single stops feeling like a choice and starts feeling like evidence. Evidence that you're not ready. Evidence that you're not wanted. Evidence that everyone else gets picked and you get left to become a lesson. I know that's dramatic, but when you're alone long enough, your brain gets creative in the worst ways. It turns silence into proof. It turns rejection into identity. It turns a bad season into a life sentence. And I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying not to look at my current life and call it my whole life, because that's the trap. You start saying I'm lost like it's who you are instead of where you are. And maybe that's why I wanted to make this, because I am lost. But I don't want to become loyal to being lost. I don't want to build a personality around failure just because failure is familiar. It's easy to do that. It's easy to start making jokes about being broke before anyone else can. It's easy to call yourself a loser so nobody else gets the satisfaction. It's easy to act like you don't care because caring makes the disappointment hurt more. But I do care. That's the truth. I care that I'm 29 and don't have savings. I care that I'm single. I care that I don't feel proud of the way I spend my days. I care that I can feel years passing. I care that the version of me I imagined when I was younger would probably be confused by me now. And I'm tired of pretending I don't. I think a lot of people are stuck because they keep trying to make their life look less embarrassing instead of making it better. That's what I did. I got good at explaining. I got good at making things sound temporary. I got good at giving vague answers. What are you doing now? Oh, just figuring some stuff out. How's work? It's fine. Are you seeing anyone? Not really focused on that right now. How have you been? Good, just busy. Busy. That word does so much work for people who are actually just avoiding their life. And after a while, the performance becomes exhausting because now you're not only lost, you're lost while pretending you know where you're going. That takes energy, more energy than just admitting the truth. So here's the truth. I'm 29. I'm single. I'm broke. I'm behind where I thought I'd be. And I don't know exactly how to fix all of it. But I do know I can't keep pretending it's fine. Because it isn't fine. And weirdly, saying that does not make me feel worse. It makes me feel a little lighter. Not good, not fixed, just honest. And honesty is uncomfortable, but at least it gives you something solid to stand on. You can't build on fake confidence. You can't build on pretending. You can't build on vague excuses and someday plans. You can only build from where you actually are. And where I actually am is not where I want to be, but it is a place. It is a starting point. I think the first thing I need to stop doing is waiting to become a different person before I take action, because that's been my excuse for years. I'll start when I feel motivated. I'll start when I'm less tired. I'll start when I know exactly what I want. I'll start when I'm not embarrassed. No, that version of starting is fake. Most things start while you still feel stupid. You apply while you feel underqualified. You work out while you still hate how you look. You save money while the amount feels pathetic. You talk to people while you still feel awkward. You clean your room while your life is still messy. You take the small step while some part of you is making fun of how small it is. And I think that's what I have to do now. Not some huge transformation. Not a dramatic comeback arc. Just stop bleeding in the obvious places. Stop spending money I don't have to feel better for 10 minutes. Stop scrolling until my brain feels like wet cement. Stop staying up late for no reason and then acting surprised when the next day feels impossible. Stop avoiding things just because I'm afraid they'll confirm what I already fear. Then build one thing. One real thing. A routine. A skill. A better body. A cleaner room. A job path. A savings habit. One thing that proves I'm not just sitting here waiting for life to rescue me. Because nobody is coming to rescue me. That sounds depressing, but maybe it's actually freeing. Nobody is coming, so I can stop waiting. There is no perfect moment, no clean reset, no version of me that wakes up one morning magically ready. There is just this version, today, with all the problems still here. And I can either keep explaining why I am the way I am, or I can start becoming something else badly. Badly is fine. Awkwardly is fine. Late is fine. But not never. That's what I keep coming back to. Late is not the same as never. Behind is not the same as finished. Lost is not the same as dead. And I need to remember that because shame tries to make everything feel permanent. It tells you that because you are broke now, you will always be broke. Because you are single now, you will always be alone. Because you are behind now, you will never catch up. Because you wasted time, there is no point starting. But shame is a liar with good evidence. That's what makes it convincing. It can point to real things, real mistakes, real missed chances, real bad habits. But it always reaches the most hopeless conclusion. And I don't want to let it do that anymore. I don't want to turn my life into a verdict before it's actually over. So no, I'm not going to pretend I'm doing great. I'm not. I'm not going to pretend I'm secretly ahead. I'm not. I'm not going to pretend being 29, single, broke, and lost feels fine. It doesn't. It feels embarrassing. It feels heavy. It feels like I'm carrying around a version of myself I don't want people to see. But maybe seeing it clearly is the first useful thing I've done in a while. Because now I know what I'm dealing with, and I know I don't want to stay here. That has to count for something. Maybe not a lot, but something. So if you're in the same place, I'm not going to give you some fake motivational speech. I'm not going to tell you everything happens for a reason. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I just know that at some point, you have to stop using your pain as proof that you're doomed. You can be behind and still move. You can be broke and still start saving. You can be lonely and still learn how to connect. You can be lost and still pick a direction. And maybe the direction won't be perfect. It probably won't. But standing still because you're afraid of choosing wrong is still a choice. And it has consequences. I know because I've been living them. So yeah, I'm 29, I'm single, I'm broke, and I'm lost. But I'm trying not to make that my identity. I'm trying to make it the place I finally stopped lying to myself. And maybe that's not inspiring. Maybe that's not enough for a clean ending. But it's honest. And right now, honest is the first thing that actually feels like progress.